أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسول Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to this broadcast of the Lahore Ahmadiyya movement. Today we will talk about a very important topic, and we are very fortunate to have with us Mrs. Fokia Aziz, who is a retired teacher and interpreter, and now she spends her time learning and researching about Islamic topics and the Holy Quran. So Islam has given women some very amazing rights, but sadly, we don't see those rights being freely given in Muslim societies or in other countries around the world. Women are still hugely struggling for equal rights. So, today, in this context, we will talk about the verse 434 of the Holy Quran, which is often greatly misunderstood, and it is used to justify the oppression and the abuse of women, including marital abuse. So I will start by reading the translation of verse 434. Men are the maintainers of women with what Allah has made some of them to excel others, and with what they spend out of their wealth. So the good women are obedient, guarding the unseen as Allah has guarded. And as to those on whose part you fear desertion, admonish them, then leave them alone in the beds, and chastise them. So if they obey you, seek not a way against them. Surely Allah is ever exalted, great. So we will break down this verse of the Quran into different parts and try to understand it in depth. May Allah help us in this. So I will start out by asking Mrs. Aziz, what do you think are the three greatest abuses of power that we currently see against women?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What you have said on this topic of ours today, obviously we will carry it as far as it goes, and we'll hope that people will ask questions and give us a chance to explain more things. We are not theologians. We are researching and trying to find answers ourselves with help of learned men within our families. So Allah, inshallah, will help us. We are not trying to change anything in our faith. We are only trying to help people to understand it better so that in today's 21st century, we use the same book which came 1442 years ago to apply to our current issues, because this book is for eternity and we need to find answers from it. As you have mentioned, the rights given to women by Allah in the Holy Quran, not only in Surah An-Nisa, but throughout the whole of the Holy Quran, it is clear that women are equal to men. When you read the Holy Quran, women are equal to men. But sadly, as you have said, it is regrettable that Muslims of today are not doing justice when it comes to giving women their God-given rights. As predominantly we live in patriarchal societies where men have taken the role of deciding how much power to give to women. We see less and less of the rights given by men to women, and those rights that Allah has given her have been taken away by these patriarchal societies. And the first question we need to look at, what are the three greatest, if you can say, if we at the moment we will look at just three for the time being, abuses that women face in today's life. If we say we take a girl or a child from birth to marriage, even before a couple has a baby, their wish is to have sons, not only by the couple, but by the whole family. To fulfill this wish, all kinds of ways are used to find out the sex of the unborn child. If it turns out to be a girl, then in extreme cases, even illegal methods are used to abort the child in hope of the next one to be a boy. And this has been very common. I'm talking about, because I live in UK, it is very common amongst our communities. It is common in a lot of communities. Boys are preferred not only by Muslims, but other communities as well. So in some hospitals, what they have done is when they do the first scan, or I don't know which scan they do, which can determine the sex of the child, they don't tell them. And that was the reason why that the modern science was abused to abort the embryo, or whatever stage it reaches when the sex can be told. So those who have no resources to find out the sex of the unborn child, they try again and again to have multiple daughters till a boy is born. So that is very common. They will keep having some, you say, how, 7 daughters? And the reason is because they have just carried on trying. It's funny, but I will tell you that people have said that Rasul Pak has said that a girl is a blessing of God, a salam from God. And jokingly, people have said, Walaikum assalam, that we haven't had enough salams now. We want to say Walaikum assalam. So that's why there has been a lot of imbalance in some societies today, that there are more boys than girls. And the reason is that they have tried these different means instead of nature deciding what it wants, but people have decided. So now that the girls are born, to bring the children up, you have to have them educated and get them ready for marriage. Sadly, girls suffer the most in every possible way. The boy will be given preference, receiving good food. All the choicest things in a meal will be saved for the men of the house or the boys of the house. And then again, the education. So she will be weaker in body and she will be weaker in her intellect, because she's not given those resources by her parents because they couldn't afford it. So they've just given it to the boy. And then she will be married off as soon as possible without having adequate education or skills of making a home, or even her consent, because she will be sent off, married off to someone without her consent in it. So say this is the first stage of a woman's life. The second one starts when she is, now the father has done his so-called job of passing on the girl to another man. And now that man is responsible for her. And he will treat her the way he likes, he will control her the way he likes, and he will hold the purse strings, and every aspect of her life is to be in obedience of her husband and to be treated by him the way he wants to treat you. So now from birth to marriage, and then after marriage, in some cases, when a young married girl takes on the role of a womanhood and she can no longer endure the bad treatment, she wants to get out of that unhappy marriage. Then she finds further barriers in front of her. If she's lucky enough to finally have a divorce, then she has to deal with the societal norms and finds remarriage another hurdle. When in fact her desire to remarry is within her religious rights. And then if we look at a widow, and if sadly she becomes a widow, then she has even more to bear the bad treatment of the society and her relatives, even her siblings. So remarriage becomes an issue of family pride. A simple thing that Allah has permitted to divorced people, to people who are widowed. Not only men are widowed as sorry, men are also in that category. I've forgotten the word for
Widower?
widower. Sorry, sometimes words just escape you. So it becomes a really big issue. So to look at these few things to start with, and we can talk about them for a long time, but we need to look at these things in an Islamic way and in a cultural way, because they are kind of intertwined, and we need to find ways of improving these. So these are the few examples that I've looked at to start with.
Thank you. Let us proceed with our questions.
This is the second question we're looking at now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now when we go in detail in this verse 434 of the Holy Quran,
Yes.
Ar-Rijalu Qawwamuna 'ala nisa.
Yeah.
Men are the maintainers of women. The word Qawwamun, how
Yeah.
would you explain the meaning of this word Qawwam or Qawwamun in this verse?
Yeah. Well, as you have said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ar-Rijalu Qawwamuna 'ala nisa bima fazlullahi ba'dahum 'ala ba'din wa bima anfaqu min amwalihim. Men are the maintainers of women, with what Allah has made some of them to excel others, and with what they spend out of their wealth. So the word Qawwamun, as we are looking at in Surah An-Nisa, the word means maintainer, responsible for material and moral welfare, and a provider. Like Kama bil Yatim, meaning maintainer of orphans. This word also appears in 4:134. I will read that. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kunu qawwamina bil qisti shuhada lillahi walau ala anfusikum awil walidaini wal iqrabin. O you who believe, be maintainers of justice, bearers of witness for Allah, even if it is against your own selves or your parents or near relatives. So this word, Qawwamun, is used in other parts, and it has other meanings of it as well. And in this context that I have read, it is to have justice. So the word, as sometimes people abuse these words without fully understanding them and taking them literally. In the whole of the Holy Quran, you will see in a lot of places the words are repeated and their meanings are used in different contexts in a different way. So when we look at the Holy Quran, we need to look at it like that there are areas within it that can have a very different meaning of the same word. One has to see the use of a word according to its context and to justify its use. In the Holy Quran, this surah was revealed 1442 years ago. A high status was given to the women, as there was a great need of the time to correct the wrongs of that society, where the women were at the bottom of the heap. So this Qawwamun word applied at that time, when the society, the non-Muslim society, treated women terribly. So this, the Holy Quran clearly stated, not only in this surah, but from start to end, the importance of the position of men and women. So whenever you read the Holy Quran, sort of sitting there and thinking about it, it always has both in mind. Allah always has both in mind, and Allah orders both the same things. There isn't a separate Quran for men and a separate Quran for women. The Quran is for men and women because they can't be created without one or the other. The surah was revealed right after Battle of Uhud, when many widows and orphans were left, and Allah in His wisdom sent orders for the new Muslims to safeguard their existence and a lot of other guidance to bring that society living the Islamic way. The people of that time used these words of God to the best of their understanding and practices of that time. Today, more than 1400 years ago, years later, we all live in a very different and diverse societies where men and women fulfill many roles that at one time only men did. The Holy Quran is a book of guidance till eternity, and ijtihad is a tool used in many places to create ease to accommodate changes in societal norms. Hence, the word kawamun can create problems in today's Muslim societies. And we, as practicing Muslims, need to get together to find solutions for today. Men and women are working, and in some cases, women are earning more than men. So something has to happen to make both feel at ease in family situations. So, for example, according to this ayat, my husband is responsible for my existence, and I'm using a word existence is a very deep word, but just to say that our everyday living, eating, drinking, clothing, a house, everything, he's responsible for. But when we see today's way of life and how it has changed, women are playing a big role in supporting their husbands in making their existence a pleasant one. My own example, I came to England very quick, first lived with my in-laws, then lived with my husband he was at a university in Manchester, and he rented a very sort of badly kept house. We lived in that happily. We had little, we lived on that. And then we had a child, then we moved when he got a job. And the money that we had saved, we paid a deposit for a house, and we bought a house. And then we felt that we didn't have money to buy furniture and things. So I started looking for some kind of work. So all my life, I worked for 28 years of my life. I did many different jobs, but I always did part-time jobs because they were enough for us to live comfortably on. He was not that he stopped providing for us, but we all had, it was a joint effort, and both of us made our existence happier rather than me demanding all the time, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, can you give me this, can you give me that? Because that also happens. A man feels under a lot of pressure as well. We are not saying that women don't put pressure on men and are complaining because they have been given that role of provider. So if both of us, men and women, husbands and wives, help and support each other, life can be a lot happier. So I feel that this kawamun can be a very happy word, that we are maintaining each other. Yes. We are helping each other, not only one doing all of it, where possible. I'm not saying that it is possible everywhere. Wherever possible, a woman, my mother worked all her life, and in a country where women didn't work. And I think from her family, she was the first girl to work and get a paid job. So now we see a very different picture of our existence, our lives in 21st century.
Right. Thank you very much. You have explained the meaning of the word Kawwamun, and now whenever I think of this word, I will think of it as a happy word.
Yes, we should make it a happy
We
word.
should make it a happy word. That can be our
Yes,
goal. And I'm also thinking of another a place in the Holy Quran where husbands and wives are called as garments of one another. So that
yes.
also supports this meaning that you have explained of Kawwamun. Thank you so much, Mrs. Aziz. We will continue our questions in the next program that we are going to have. And so I will see you again, inshallah. And assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you.